Hi you guys. It's been a long time since I posted a video and I'm kind of back today to tell you all about what I've been doing for the past month and why I haven't really been posting videos for the past month. And yeah, this is kind of like a self-help video and also like a I'm kind of dumb, don't do what I've done sort of video. So yeah, this will be interesting, and this video is basically going to be about all of the mistakes that I have made since moving to Los Angeles and ways that you can avoid that. Yeah, for anyone who's moving to Los Angeles, this video is for you. This video is why you need to be smart to move to Los Angeles and how to avoid doing dumb things like me. So I'm going to go back to the beginning, not of all time because I don't know that very well, but to the time when I decided I was going to move to Los Angeles. I had a job and I had been working for a few months and it was a decent job, and when I decided to move to Los Angeles I was like, alright, I'm gonna move at the end of January and I'm going to stop working like a month beforehand because I'll have enough saved up by then, I should be fine, and then I'll just move out there. That was my first bad decision. A, because I realized, wow, I have way too much time on my hands. I thought that I would be really busy or a lot busier packing and stuff, and that obviously turned out to be false. So yeah, that was my first mistake, and this is important because later on I'll realize how much I had really wished that I had continued working. Because, okay, so when I first got to Los Angeles, I found out a lot of stuff about here that I didn't know. Mainly the fact that they do street cleaning, and that's where I'm from, not really that common unless you live right in the city, and I guess I kind of forgot that I was living in a big city. Yeah, that was my first mistake because one day I went to go hiking and I got to my car and there was a parking ticket, and it was like, I was like, oh, I've never really got a parking ticket before, but I didn't really expect anything like big or bad out of it, and it was for like $75. I was like, are you kidding me? Because I didn't move my car, so there's like, I don't know, 8 feet of space where there is no, where it hasn't been cleaned, really $75. So that was annoying, but I thought I had learned my lesson. And that was 1 week after I had moved here. So I had just gotten to Los Angeles, and 1 week later is when I got my ticket. The following week, I had parked my car and I'm like, okay, I think I'm in a good spot. There was a sign that said something, but here's the issue. I thought and I assumed that I knew what it meant, and I did not. Yeah, and so a couple days later when I was leaving again, I went out and my car was gone. It was completely gone from the parking spot that I was in. And of course I was like panicking, and I called the number that was on the sign and they're like, where was your car parked? And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, well, we can't tell you where your car is if you don't tell us where it was parked. So I had to go back to where the spot where my car was and find the street name, because I was still like kind of new here. I didn't know what the hell I was doing or what any of the streets were. And so I told them, and they're like, oh yeah, your car was towed 3 days ago. And I was like, thank you for telling me that. And so yeah, I was like crying and freaking out, and I called my parents and I'm like, I need help. But they were like, well, you need to call and figure out where your car is. And so eventually I did, and I went there, and the night before when I had talked to them, when I realized that my car was gone, they're like, it's gonna cost you like $360. I'm like, that really sucks, but like I can afford that. And so the next day when I go and get it, because I realized at like 6:30 and the place closed at 7, there was no way I was gonna get there by 7. And so I was like, okay, I'll go in the morning, like right when they open up. And I get there and they're like, yeah, it's gonna cost you $430. And I was like, what the hell? Why is there like an extra $70 like plugged into this? And they were just like, and I'm like, fuck me. And so I was like, great. And then I get my car back and there is another ticket on there for not moving my car, and the ticket was $95. And I was like, so basically I'm paying $530 because I didn't move my car. And I was like having a heart attack. I'm like, yeah, I can pay for this, but I wanted to die and it was terrible. And so after that I was pretty much like, damn, I really wish that I had worked longer, because I could have paid for all of this with at least 1 more week's worth of money or work, and that was disappointing. And on top of that, I'm paying for rent and I'm paying for groceries and I'm paying for all other things. Like when you just get here, you kind of do touristy things and like going out for dinner and visiting my family that lives here. And so all of that together, I was like, I think I'm gonna have to leave by like tomorrow. Like I don't think I can afford to live here anymore. And it was just such like a terrifying idea, but I didn't want to leave. I did not want to leave. I'm like, all right, well, you know what? As much as I didn't want to, I was gonna try and find a job because I thought, all right, when I first was going to come out here, I thought I'm gonna save up a lot of money beforehand so that I don't have to work while I'm out here. I can just like spend a few months here, live kind of comfortably, pay rent of course, and then leave when I'm ready. Well, now it's kind of like I don't have that luxury anymore of having a few months where I can just kind of like chill and relax. I'm like, I have to apply to jobs. I have to go find a job because all that money that I thought I saved up after those 2 tickets, and I was like, I don't have that anymore. Well, and then a few weeks later, I've been applying to jobs for a while, and I meet up or I hear from a recruiter and they're like, oh, I think that we can find you, I think that you're like a good candidate for a few jobs that we have. Like, are you interested? And I was like, yeah, of course. So long story short, I interviewed 3 times at the same law firm, and they still decided to, were like, yeah, actually, you know what, we're gonna go with someone else. And it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm used to like small town living where it's like they don't really have any other people to hire anyways. So I just kind of assumed that since they kept bringing me back, they really wanted me. Yeah, that was false and lie and really disappointing and kind of sad, but I had to get over it. And I was like, all right, after that, I had family come, and now this is where it just kind of gets funny because it's like unreal. I can't even believe that my life is this freaking mess. So we get to last week and I had some family come to town from my hometown. We were going out every day and we were, Ubering everywhere, and you know, it's expensive here, but I was like, all right, I can kind of like, I have a little bit of wiggle room here since I've been good at saving my money. And then we go out one night and my family member that I'm with gets really, really drunk. And as we're in the Uber ride home, which I had ordered and was on my Uber, they threw up in the car, in the Uber, on me, and all over the Uber driver's seat. And they're like, oh my God, I have to get out. And they get out. And so I'm still in the car getting just blasted by this Uber driver. And I was like, I'm really sorry, I can't help. They told me that they were fine to get in the car, and they told me that they'd feel if they had to get out that they would let me know, but they didn't let me know. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, I'm gonna leave you a really good tip, I promise. Like, I will help pay for this. Just like, don't be like mad at her. It's not her fault. I thought he was gonna get out of the car and like beat her up. It was scary. Anyways, I was like, cancel our ride. I'm getting out. Goodbye. And eventually we get home after a whole nother mess, which was just blah. But the next morning I wake up, I check my Uber, and it says that I got charged $150 for this car to be cleaned. And I can't be mad at the Uber driver. Like, I get it. It's their car, and not only were they pretty much like forced to stop driving after that night, like who knows how many days it took for them to get their car cleaned. So I'm not really upset at them, but it's just like, after going through everything with my car and then all of that, to get that $150 Uber charge was just like, oh, it was just such a blow, and I felt totally defeated. And then to make it even worse, and this is where this is where I almost completely lost my mind. We were going somewhere that day too, and we get to my car, and my back right tire was flat, completely flat. Mind you, I had bought 4 new tires before I moved out here because I had my car inspected, because you have to have your car inspected in New York. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna get new tires because they recommend getting new tires, and I needed them anyways. And so to walk out to my car and see one of these new tires just completely flat, I can't even describe the emotion that I was feeling. I think I drove to the gas station because I called them. I was like, do you have an air pump? And they're like, yes, like the electric ones. And I go and I spend about $3 trying to fill it up. I knew after the first time that it wasn't gonna fill up at all, but I think the second time I did it, it was just me trying to convince myself that it was going to work and that it just needed a lot of air. That feeling after I realized that it wasn't working, I couldn't, no emotions were even coming to me. I just felt blank. You know, when you can't describe what you're feeling, it's just so, that's what it's like. And just sitting there at the gas station, I must have looked a hot mess because this one really nice woman came up to me and was like, there's a tire place like less than a quarter of a mile down the road. They'll be able to help you right away. And luckily I got there, but that other tire was $50. So, you know, to be hit with the first $75 bill and then the $430 and then the $95 and then the $150 and then the $50, and it's just like, it's hard to describe how hopeless and how helpless and everything that I felt at that time was so beyond me that I would say I was very depressed at that moment because I don't like reaching out to family for help. I know I could if I wanted to, but I had come out to Los Angeles with this idea that I wasn't expecting to be rich the whole time, but I came out with this idea that I was going to be okay. I wouldn't have to ask for help, and that I could survive for the few months that I wanted to be out here. And so after all that happened, I was like, I don't want to move back, but I think I might have to because I can't afford to live out here anymore. It was just terrible. So I mean, the takeaway of this lesson is, don't just assume things. A, don't assume that you can park where you can park. Read that sign like 10 times. B, don't just assume that you're not gonna have any emergency costs because they're gonna come up. And maybe, you know, for me, they hit hard. And for other people, it's like you have to pay an extra $5 for something, you know, not anything like serious. But I guess I just forgot that I was moving to a big city and everything here is expensive. Even though I've been to Los Angeles before, it's just not something that I anticipated, and I assumed that I was going to be fine. My biggest issue was assuming things and that I was going to be okay and that I would be able to afford living out here. And now that has changed. I mean, I'm still trying to find a job, and I'm applying all the time. I'm not gonna ask for help unless I really have to, but it just really sucks, you know? It sucks to be in this position. I know I'm not the first, and I know I don't have it worse. I don't have it the worst, but it's just, I'm sure that there are other people out here who have gone through similar things and know that when you get hit this hard, it is very difficult to not just fall into a rut and say, I should just give up, because I thought that for a long time. I mean, after all that happened, I was like, what's the point? You know, my luck is so bad that I might as well just leave because nothing's gonna make it better. But I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave, and I'm not gonna do certain things to make it work, but I want to make it work, and I'm going to make it work. It's just, I wish I had done things differently, and I regret some of the things that I did or thought, but this ended up being more of a rant than I thought it would be, or more of just like a story time about me talking about all the really stupid things that I did when I moved here or before I moved here. So if there is any takeaway from this video, which there might not be for many people, it's just don't be stupid when you're moving here. Make sure that you have an emergency fund. That's what you need to make sure. Make sure you have an emergency fund, and don't assume things before you come here. Assume everything is going to be expensive. Assume that you're going to get hit with stupidly expensive tickets for parking, and assume that there are going to be other things that come up that you can't control no matter what. So yes, I'm going to end the video here. I don't know if I'll come back for another rant. Maybe I will in like next week when something else happens, maybe. I don't know. But for now, I'm going to leave it at this, and just don't make the same mistakes that I did, because no, I don't want anyone else to have to go through this, even though I know that other people have had it worse. Just listen to my advice and be smart before you move out here. All right, I'm going to talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Just wanted to add in here that while I was cleaning up for this video, I almost knocked over my roommate's snowboard, so bad luck continues. Blah.